If you are a business owner who has been in transition, meaning you are starting something new or want to start something new, and it's been a long time, like let's say you've had to go back and get a job, let's say you've sold your company, let's say that you've burnt out and you just want something different, let's say you've had a health scare, it doesn't really matter the reason why you're in transition. This video is for you if you have been in a transition longer than what you want. That is who this video is for. Okay, so my name is Lachelle Barnett. I am a business therapist, as my clients call me, which just means I am a licensed therapist and a business coach. Okay, and I serve entrepreneurs who are in a season of pivoting, in a season of rebuilding and transition. Okay, so in this video, what I want to do is to give you maybe 3 tips on how to get out of this season of transition so you can get to a place of actually being in a stable place within your business. Okay? All right. So the first thing that is very, very important is acceptance. It is you accepting that something is not working, right? If I've been in transition for a long period of time, I don't care whether I've gone back and gotten a job, whether I've had to take care of an elderly parent, whether I've gone through a divorce, whether I had a health scare, whether it was the economy, it doesn't really matter what the reason is, right? And you get to decide what's too long, right? For one person is 6 months, for another person is 12 months, for another person is 18 months, for another person is 2 years. A lot of the clients that I serve have been in transition for 12 months or more, meaning they are not where they want to be after having made some kind of pivot. Okay. And so the first thing that's going to help us get out of that is actually not avoiding it. Okay. Because, we love to avoid, right? But actually accepting it. And acceptance means basically looking at a thing rather than avoiding a thing, right? That's our step one of acceptance. So in this context, it might look like, instead of me saying, oh, I'm moving along, right? I'm still serving clients. I'm still making money. I'm still, tweaking my messaging, blah, blah, blah. All of that is great. There's nothing wrong with that. But acceptance looks like, in spite of me doing all of those things, this is the third quarter that I'm still not maybe making the money that I once was making or making the money that I want to be making, right? It's like, if you tie a time frame to how long you've been doing something, it will increase your level of acceptance. Okay? So try it. Be honest with yourself. Acceptance is really, really, really about you being honest with you and to say, man, I've been trying to figure out my offers for 7 months. Oh man, I've been really trying to figure out my positioning for 12 months. I've been really trying to fill in the blank, right? I've been really trying to find the energy or the motivation, right? So our step one is acceptance. Add some time frame to whatever it is that you've been stuck in. Okay. And when you hear yourself say, man, I've been in the same spot for 6 months, or I've been in the same spot 18 months, or I've been in a spot I don't want to be. Maybe it's not the same spot, but it's a spot that I don't want to be for an extended period of time. Something begins to hit you, and it's like, oh, shoot, I might need to do something about that. Like, we're aware, we're always aware, but awareness and acceptance are not the same. So what we want to do is to move from being aware that we're in transition, being aware that it's taking too long, to actually accepting, no, this literally is taking way too long. It's taking me 6 months to choose my avatar. It's taking me 3 months to choose my offers. It's taking me blah, and all the things I'm doing, I have not yet produced me being out of transition. Okay. That's number one. The second thing that you're going to do is accurately name the problem. Many times when we struggle with acceptance, we're often solving the wrong problem, right? A lot of times when my clients are in transition, they're still investing in programs, they're still watching YouTube videos, they're still reading books, they're still serving clients, right? So it's not that they're not doing anything, right? But what we want to do secondarily is to say, well, why have I been stuck for so long? Like, yes, we're going to use the word stuck. I know that a lot of my people are like, well, I'm not stuck per se. And I'm like, ma'am, are you where you want to be? No. Have you been in a place that you don't want to be for 3 months? Yes. 6 months? Yes. 8 months? Yes. 9 months? Yeah. Okay, we're stuck. Let's just call a spade, right? Our step two is to actually name the problem and name the problem accurately, right? So what all you're doing is saying, well, why is this so hard? I'm already an expert. I've had a business for a decade, right? Like I made six figures, blah, 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 whatever is true. It's like, but why is it such a struggle to get back to a thing, to get this new thing up and rolling, right? If you name the problem accurately, it helps you know where you should draw your attention to, where you should be putting your energy, your time, your money, etc., right? Now, I will tell you, here are some of the common reasons that I find that people get stuck in what we call the transition trap, which is essentially deciding you want something different and then it taking 2 years to actually bring that thing to fruition. That's a transition trap because it shouldn't have to take 2 years. Now, if you intentionally decided, oh, I'm not working in the business for the first 6 months, I'm just going to rest, I'm just going to rejuvenate, I sold my company and now I literally don't want to do anything, then that's different. Like I made an intentional decision, right, to not work. Or if I wanted there to be a really slow buildup, let's say I really didn't want to jump back into business immediately. I wanted there to be a 12-month buildup. It's like, oh, I just want to kind of ease back. Fair. But most people want it to go a little slow, but it's still going way slower than that. They didn't intend for it to be 18 months and 24 months and however long it's been. Okay. So your second step is to say, well, why? What is the problem? What am I struggling with that is actually the reason why it's taking so long? Okay. Here are the four that we find to be most common. Number one is a lack of clarity. Okay. And lack of clarity could be anything around, like, I'm not clear about what I want, right? I'm not clear about like my vision, right? Maybe sometimes the business has like gut punched you and it's like, yeah, I had this goal and I had this dream and I had this vision, but now I'm a different person. I know more now, and so now what I want is different, and I'm not exactly sure what that is. So lack of clarity could be about you and your desires, or maybe you're really clear about your vision, but you lack clarity in some area about the business because you and the business are two different things. Two different things connected, not the same. Okay, I do a whole video just talking about how much seeing you in the business as the same creates a problem. Okay, but that's a different video, different time, right? So the other side of clarity has to do with the business. Like, oh, is this the right offer for what it is that I want to do? Is this the right avatar for the right offer? Right? Is this the right messaging? All of that is a lack of clarity, right? So that's one reason. The second reason that we often find is a lack of capacity, right? A lot of times people won't say that they're burnt out, right? Because they don't necessarily feel burnt out, right? But there are lots of signs of burnout without you ever saying burnt out. And maybe you're not burnt out. You can have a lack of capacity even if you are not burnt out, but being burnt out is one of the reasons for a lack of capacity. And really, a lack of capacity is a lack of resources. Like your resources do not match your desire. I might want to build $1 million company as an example, right? But my energy level is not $1 million energy, or my motivation. Maybe I got energy, but I don't have motivation, right? Or maybe I got motivation, but I don't have time. Or maybe I have time, but I don't have support. Or maybe I have support, but I don't have money. Like when you think of capacity, I want you to think of resources, right? And that is the second reason why people get stuck in this trap is because they don't understand this new speed, right? Like, oh, I could just do it. I'm going to do a whole video about the identity switch that happens when you are starting something new and when you are trying to go from 6 to 7 figures. Like, there are these key points in your entrepreneur journey where there is a real life identity switch that happens. Right. In some ways, you're doing it throughout your entire, entrepreneur journey, but there are these key moments where the identity switch is a little bit more vivid. And I probably should do a whole video about that. Okay. But for now, the second reason why people get stuck in transition is because they lack a capacity, right? I just don't have the energy. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the fill in the blank. Okay. The third one, which is really interesting, is around resistance, right? A lot of times when you've already run a business, when you've already had something up and running, when you've already been successful, you're very clear about what you don't want. Not entirely clear, but you're clear. Like a lot of times, use relationships as an example. It's like if you were in a relationship and it didn't work out, you might not walk out of the relationship knowing what you want, but you are more clear about what you don't want, right? And a lot of times when you're more clear about what you don't want than what you do want, it creates a resistance, right? It creates this like, I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing that because I know I don't want. And it's like that's one form of resistance that will keep you in this transition trap. Another form of resistance is essentially saying, okay, I got really clear about my vision. I know what I want to build, but what it's going to take to build that, I'm already tired. Like something about that is just like, oh, yes, I want this outcome. Yes, I want this lifestyle. Yes, I want this life. But now that I've been in business for 5, 10, whatever years, I know that that journey is a lot. That also creates resistance, right? Resistance comes when you know there are things that you need to do, many times that are non-negotiable, right? In order to get to what you want to do. So think about like if you had a workout goal, right? And it's like, oh, I want to lose weight. And it's like, okay, well, in order to lose weight, you need to move more. And you're like, okay, cool. I'll start going to the gym. I don't really love the gym, but I'm willing to go to the gym, right? And you also need to start eating healthy. You're like, oh, eating healthy. I don't really want that. And even though you say, okay, I'll do it because I get it, you got to eat healthy. If there is resistance at every step, then it slows the process, right? This is one of those things that will create a delay and turn a transition that was supposed to be 6 months into, 18 months. Okay. The last one, which is often the culprit, right? This one is kind of neck and neck with clarity, right? But this is many times it's number one, but if it's not number one, it's number two. Okay. It is just plain fear. There is so many, well, what if it doesn't work? What if I put this new offer out and it doesn't work? What if I've chosen the wrong avatar? What if people don't want this new thing from me? What if people only see me for my last niche or my last positioning or right? There are all of these what ifs, and that fear can be paralyzing, right? So I'm giving you a couple things, right? But ultimately, I want you to decide what is the problem. Why are you actually in the same spot for an extended period of time? And be honest with you about that. And you're welcome to drop it in the comment or drop the in the comments below, right? And we can always try to problem solve the one that most applies to you. Okay. All right. So then our step three is when we actually start looking at, okay, I know what my problem is. I'm accepting that I've been here too long. I'm accepting that something needs to be different. Number one. I've also articulated my problem as, oh, I'm afraid of failing and I'm not clear on what my offer should be. That's number two. I'm very clear about what my problem is. So then step three is we give ourselves a time frame to solve that problem. Now you can go off and try to solve that problem on your own, or you can go off and try to get help with that problem, right? But my recommendation to you is that you give yourself a time frame, right? It's like, okay, in the next 2 weeks, I will decide on the appropriate avatar. In the next 30 days, I will have my offer suite laid out. In the next, you decide what the time frame is based on, how quickly you want to get to where you want to be, and you give yourself a time frame. And if you don't meet that time frame, especially more than once, right? If you don't meet the time frame, then you have to give yourself permission to solve that problem differently. A lot of times we jump straight into coaching because we know it will solve our problem, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's like when I'm in acceptance and I know that this is not a problem that I can solve on my own, that I've already been struggling to solve this problem, then asking for help is a great thing, right? But a lot of times when you're a seasoned entrepreneur, right, you have the ability to answer some questions for yourself, and you just give yourself a time frame, and it's like, all right, I'm going to decide on this piece by Tuesday. I'm going to decide on this other piece by, in the next 2 weeks. And if you don't hit it, the more times you don't hit it, then you ask for help, right? You either ask for help immediately because you're aware, you're self-aware, and you understand, I've already been trying to figure this out for 6 months. I already been trying to figure it out for 12 months, right? Uh, you either go that route or you say, no, I got it. I can do it. Right. I had a client this morning that I was just thinking of where she's like, I know that I could ask for help. And this was not a business thing. This was something that was in her personal life. And she's like, I will ultimately have somebody, I will pay them to help me with this thing, but I feel like I can do it. And it's like, great, let's go. I'm with that. Right. Like however, I want us to include the data. The data says I haven't been able to do it in the last year. Now, maybe I got new motivation because acceptance will increase your motivation to do things, right? So maybe I've gotten a greater level of acceptance. And so now I'm more motivated. Now I got more energy. Now I got more whatever. And it's like, okay, give yourself a month to get something done. And if it doesn't work, say, okay, I ran into a little bit of a hiccup. I'm going to give myself another month. Okay. But by the time you said that 3 times, you need to ask somebody for some help. Sometimes you need to ask somebody for some help from day one, but if you're going to give it a shot yourself and try to solve the problem, then put a time frame on it. And if you don't hit the time frame, especially repeatedly, ask for help because time is something you cannot get back. I know we sometimes get worried about investing money in coaching and investing, right? Especially depending on how much investing. It's like, yeah, but you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. And is your time more valuable than your money? You can say no, but your actions actually dictate whether that's true or not. Okay, enough of that. So our step 3 is you've given yourself a time frame. I actually want to give you a little bit of a bonus because this is such a big deal. One of the things that is indicative of being in transition is indecision, right? One of the things that's very common when you are in transition is overwhelm. And overwhelm is often associated with transition because of the number of decisions that you have to make, right? If I have to make 20 decisions, and if you're transitioning, there literally are a lot of decisions. There's offer decisions, there's messaging decisions, there's pricing decisions, there's positioning decisions, because positioning and messaging is not the same. There's strategy decisions, there's marketing decisions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there are lots of decisions to make, which then often lead to indecision, which often leads to delays, which means this is why we're here. We lack clarity, we lack focus, right? All of these things. And so part of the hack, right? This is my little bonus tip for you, is you have to learn to make sequential decisions and execute sequentially versus executing simultaneously, right? Most of my experts that are in transition have execution down. They're executors. They don't really struggle with laziness. They don't really struggle with motivation. But unfortunately, they're so used to hustle execution, which is simultaneous execution, where I'm trying to do all the things at the same time. Enter overwhelm, enter delays, enter lack of progress. And what I'm saying is part of the identity switch that has to happen is that, oh no, I'm not actually executing simultaneously. I'm executing sequentially. And if you learn to make decisions sequentially, you will move faster, right? So it's like, okay, there's a whole list of decisions that I need to make. But if I made one a week, I'd be further along, right? Versus trying to solve all of the problems at the same time. So that is my bonus hack for you. Make one decision at a time and you will move faster. It will feel slower, but it will not actually be slower, right? Again, if we go back to step 1, which is acceptance, well, how long I've been in this transition? 8 months. Okay. So if I made a decision every day, or not every day, every week for the next 6 weeks, would I be further along? Probably, because we're not I want to be clear that what we're not doing is coming up with ideas every week. We're making decisions. We're having concrete decisions. Decisions is what help us get closer to our destination. It's not desire. We all got desires. We got desire for money and partners and weight and spirituality and friendships. We got lots of desires. But most entrepreneurs who have a desire for time freedom, they have a desire for impact, they got a desire for abundance, they got a desire for all these things that are pretty doggone common. Most of them in their entrepreneurial career without any of those desires. And it's like, well, why is that? Why is it that we all want the same things, but most of us don't have time freedom? Most of us are tied to our business. Most of us are not wealthy. We're making money, and maybe we're making more money than we did in our corporate space. And many times that's not even true, right? Because 6 figures in the entrepreneur space is not 6 figures like it is on your job, okay? 6 figures as an entrepreneur is really the ghetto. That's a whole different conversation. And it's like, well, why does that? Why do I have all these desires, right? But I can't seem to actually achieve the desires. It's like, because in order to go from desire to destination, it requires decisions in the middle, not ideas, not thoughts, right? Actual decisions. And if you walk yourself through these 3 steps, I promise you that you will begin to move more quickly to your destination.